Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to the English Hub with Mr. Hudson. Today we have in our midst a very special friend and a special colleague of mine. Today we happen to talk about some, useful topics that will be helpful to everybody that might chance upon this awesome video. Today we're gonna look at two topics, which are mainly volunteerism and how to, what to know when it comes to exchange programs. So without much ado, I would like him to introduce himself, and after we're gonna start with a conversation. Hello, Mister.
Hello, Hudson. First of all, thank you so much for your invitation. I'm really happy to be here. A little bit nervous, but I know I can control my nervousness in order to achieve this video. My name is Jefferson Cadena, and as you said, we used to be colleagues. So just to tell everyone who's watching this video, I'm an English teacher. I used to be a volunteer locally here in Colombia, in my city, Villavicencio, and internationally. And I think this topic is really interesting. So as I said before, I'm really happy to be here to discuss these topics.
All right. So once again, thank you, Mr. Jefferson, for being part of this project. So first of, I'm gonna ask you a question that is mainly about volunteerism, of which I know you are part of and have experienced a lot when it comes to such a topic. So the first question I would like to put across is what springs to your mind when it comes to volunteerism?
Well, like the first thing that comes to my mind is a word actually, and it is service. I believe being a volunteer means or is an act of service and people, of helping others, but also helping yourself at the same time. It might sound a little bit cliche, maybe, but I really believe that when you try to help others, you are also helping yourself. You are doing something for the sake of others, and at the same time you are working on things on yourself that need to be worked, that need to be in some ways fixed. So it is an act of service for others, but also an act of service for yourself.
Yeah, that's very true. Working on yourself or working on people exposes you a lot to have some experiences that you might not easily come by. So I think once you expose yourself to help people on the journey of that or along the line, you might be learning certain stuff or along the way as well. So I can use myself as an example. When I came to Colombia, I came as a volunteer to help an English program called Colombia Bilingue, of which now I can speak a little bit of Spanish. Helping people speak English.
A lot of Spanish. You're very good. Your Spanish is very good.
Helping people speak English has allowed me, based on what you said, to also learn a bit of Spanish, of which I can use in the future for anything that might be of Spanish related. Yeah. So moving on, do you often volunteer to do things, or you've only done that once?
I do. I really do that. I think it's something that comes very natural to me to be like open to do things, and if these things involve helping others is something that I like to do, and I normally do it unconsciously. It's like, okay, this situation is happening, we need to do something, and I say like, hey, we can do this, sorry, and I can help you to do it, and I know how we can achieve what you're trying to achieve, or how we can fix some things that need to be fixed. So yeah, I normally do it, and like I told you, to me, it's not like something that I think in my mind, okay, I'm going to volunteer to do this. It's just something that I do, and I don't even notice most of the times, and I do it since I can remember. It's very me, I can say that.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about that you know, I know you've done a couple of volunteer work, willingly or unwillingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then someone might ask, once you do that consciously or unconsciously, um, there might be some kind of, volunteer work that you love to do or you like to do. So if I may ask, what kind of volunteer work would you like to do?
Well, I think everything related to education is something that really that I gravitate towards, because I think education is the key to many or to solve many of the problems we face today. So when it comes to education, I am always open to do stuff. I did it previously in my career as a volunteer. I used to be a member of a very well-known international organization for young leaders, and education was always the topic that was present for me. So I did it before, and I am really willingly to do it again. So in the future, if I have the opportunity, I don't know, to go to other cities in Colombia or to other countries in the world, to put my abilities, my skills to overcome some of the challenges that we need to in the field of education, I will be very happy to do it, because I think it's like I don't need a call to action when it comes to these topics. So they just, okay, what I have to do, let me do it. I will love to do that. So yeah, if it's about education, I'm 100% on board.
Oh, okay. So that means you are keen on education. Whatever volunteer work that has to do with education, you don't need a second call for you to be part of it. You just hear of it and
I will do it.
go. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Moving on, in the world of education and social network, and we are privy to so many information nowadays. When it compare our father's generation to our current generation, we are more privileged to have adequate information when it comes to whatever we want to acquire or learn or be informed about. We are more privileged than our fathers. Yeah. So in this case, if you want to volunteer to do anything around the world, you are open, or you'll be privileged to have so many opportunities, regarding whatever you're looking for to volunteer in. Yeah. So the question is, what will the world be like if no one volunteered to do anything?
I think it will be a very sad world, honestly, because if we take the word volunteer in the simple word, it's just that feeling of being open to help others, and without helping each other and helping one another, this will be a very sad and gray world, because it will take away, like you said, the social networking, the relationships, the way we treat each other will be a very how can I say this, maybe a very solitary world for everybody. And if we take the concept of volunteer to a more institutional, maybe, like with these organizations creating cooperations, building bridges to achieve different goals and to support governments and all of that, it will be extremely difficult to overcome all the challenges that we face as humanity, because volunteering is an essential part of all the goals that we have regarding the many things we need to face daily. in terms of education, in terms of health, of social equality, of social justice. So volunteering is really a key element. So if we take volunteering out of the equation of all of these things, it will be, I think, more impossible than it is today to face all the things we have to face. Because many, I would dare to say millions of people around the world are volunteering to support many causes. So I wouldn't say it will be impossible, but I think it will be very difficult to achieve many of the things we want to achieve worldwide, locally, nationally, in the different measures that we want to take into consideration.
Yeah, that's a pretty good answer to the question. So as we were speaking, or we are speaking now, I overheard you say that you volunteered a lot when it comes to things that has to do with your beautiful country, Colombia. Yeah. So the question is, would you like to volunteer, abroad or overseas?
I would love to. I would really love to do that. I did it twice in the past, but I will do it again. Yes, I mean, if I could, I think I would spend the rest of my life volunteering around the world. Like I said before, putting my abilities and my skills in favor of different causes that I can support, or that I can, I don't know how to say, that I can at least be there to do something positive. So yeah, for sure, I will completely do it.
No, okay. So that means once you go outside there, you want to be impactful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to leave, some footprints in the memories of, anybody that you might chance upon while volunteering. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's, from my perspective of life, of course, I think it's really important and also very fulfilling to be part of something bigger than yourself. Like, to know that you are not in this world just to live your life in the terms of I don't know, having a house and having a car and being able to travel and all of this, but to really, like, I wouldn't say left a print in the world, but at least being conscious that you did something that helped others, and that's what I mean, being part of something bigger than yourself, something bigger than just living your life.
Okay, all right. Let's come to our local scene, Meta or Villavicencio.
Yeah.
Do you think, or does Villavicencio have, lots of volunteer schemes?
Well, actually, there is one. The organization that I used to be part of is still working here in the city and still doing great things for young people, in terms of they are. I don't like the word creates and leaders, but that's what they reach for. To help other young people to identify their abilities and to identify themselves and to recognize themselves as leaders that are able, and not only able but also eager to put themselves in the front of causes, and that's the one I know. And I know some other initiatives that also do the same. I don't have the exact number of associations or groups of people, but I know there are some that are trying to help Villavicencio. to help the people in the city, and to help to develop different skills and abilities in the people of Villavicencio. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, great. So moving on, I would like to know, what's your impression about December 5th, which is the International Volunteer Day? What do you think should happen, or what do you think um, we have to do during such a day?
Okay, well, first of all, it's a very convenient day for me because it's my birthday also. So it's very, very coincidental, we can say. And I think it's also a day to celebrate, and to celebrate the different people around the world who come together for common goals and that work very hard to achieve those goals. So I would say to celebrate the people and the causes in different scenarios. It could be about congresses, and it could be about I don't know what else things could be happening, but really like to gather people around this important matter in any type of how can I say this, in any type of activity. Like it could be a little reunion, or it could be like huge congresses that expose those people in a good way, and the causes. So everything around celebrating people and causes, I think that will be wonderful and something that really should happen, in my humble opinion, of course.
Okay, great. All right, we are almost going through, or getting to the end of this awesome conversation about volunteerism. And okay, so moving on, how do you feel, honestly, how do you feel about yourself after you finished a task you volunteered for? How do you feel inwardly?
I feel two ways. The first is very fulfilled that I was, and that I have been able to do or to participate in the many things that I have, because certainly, like I said many times before, I help others, of course, but I also help myself. And the second way, or the second state of mind that I get, is also a little bit sad, in the way that I wish I could do more things. So it's like mixed feelings, maybe, like very, very happy and very emotional after all the experiences that you go through in those type of volunteer programs. Yet at the same time, like very sad, because I wish I could do more things. It's like almost it's never enough.
Yeah,
all the things that you do. Yeah,
especially when you love doing what you are volunteering for, and the time is almost coming to an end. You feel like, no, you have more to offer. So by the time you realize, you go like, I think I want more time to do more, but then I can't do anything. So
no, yeah. It's like you can't do everything you want to do, even when those things you want to do are incredible and very, very good for everybody. You need to understand that you have some limits, and that you cannot you cannot do everything you want to do, because it will be impossible, yet at the same time it will be very tiring for yourself.
Exactly. Okay, all right. So the next question is nowadays this caring generation, we are facing a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and the world needs everybody on deck, everybody, to be part of, any kind of change that will ensure that, the world becomes a better place for ourselves and, future generations to come. So talking about we having problems now and looking at the future. If we don't solve the problems now, it means the future generation are gonna have to, suffer a lot to deal with, problems that we created. Yeah, because they might not find a solution, you know, in the future because we the current generation didn't start solving the problem. So moving on to the question, do you think all of the world's problem could be solved, through volunteerism?
I definitely don't believe that. I think it's an essential part of it because I mean, when we think about solving problems, we need to think about also resources, and they are very limited in many ways, even in places in which resources in terms of money are high or higher compared to other places, they are always limited. So volunteering, like I said before, is an important part of it, but I don't think things will solve just with that element. We as humans need, I think something that is very important is to be able to come together in finding solutions, and I think that's the crucial part here, and it's the most difficult one because it is like, how can I say this? It's very hard for people to understand that we are different, yet we are the same. So in understanding that, in seeing, each other as equals, but at the same time with different traits and characteristics, we will find those ways to work together and to find different resources and to find different ways to cooperate together and to find like all the things we need to find in order to achieve it. I believe by volunteering could be one of those options because you can show people how it is possible to work with people from different backgrounds, with different beliefs, with different methods of doing things, but they are capable to come together to work for one goal in particular. But that's not enough. Of course, you need compromise, and you need resources, and you need policies, and you need many things that are crucial and important to do it. So I think if we are able to see each other as equals and different at the same time, we will find the ways to work together in order to solve the many problems and to face the many difficulties that we face currently.
Okay, so we as human beings coming together, we can solve more than everyone being like an island on their own. So as it is said, nobody is an island. We all have to come together to form like a global community in order to solve any kind of problems that we might have going forward. Okay,
absolutely.
Okay, the last question would have to do with our resume. Once you start looking for jobs, the first thing that will come into your mind is, do I have experience? Do I have what it takes to to ensure that I get this job? And one might ask, okay, even though all my life have been doing volunteer work, and this work that I'm trying to apply for doesn't require anything about volunteerism. So, my life being revolved around, volunteering activities, one may ask, if I, you know, avail myself to volunteer, is it good for my resume? How can you answer that?
I would say it is, and it is incredibly positive for your CV if you want to show, because I believe that what it says about you is you're a committed person, because being a volunteer is a full work. You have responsibilities, but you don't have like a payment. So it's like you are there because you really want to be there, and because you are committed to a cause, and because you truly believe in what you're doing. So it shows to many people and many companies that you are really interested in committing, to what you do.
Yeah.
And what companies need is exactly that, committed people to work for the vision and to achieve the goals of companies.
Exactly.
But also, what it gives you is a set of skills, especially soft skills, which are very hard to get in how can I say this, in regular spaces. Those are abilities that you only get when you go through certain and specific experiences and situations, and definitely volunteering is one of those. And you can also put that, in your CV. You can say, like, one of my interests are volunteering, or one of my previous experiences is I did this and that in these situations. Many of those volunteering experiences come with certificates of your labor, and in my personal experience, many of the people I worked with in those years are now part of important and very, very relevant institutions and organizations and companies, and they are the living proof of that. That those previous experiences are very helpful. Also, in my case, I never looked for those great and big roles in companies, because I'm not interested in those particular things, But in my personal experience, for me, the volunteering process, like, it gives a very, very positive perspective of me as a teacher in this case, because it shows some of the previous places I worked with that I have something extra to give to my students. That I'm not going to be there only teaching a specific subject, but that I'm going to provide different experiences that will open their minds, and that will show them different ways to achieve things, and that will show them different ways and perspectives of life itself. Yeah. So that's very important in the education field, because you are there not to train, but to help them how to think and how to face things, and how to, I would say, even how to show how you've been living in this life, and how there are many, many ways to do things. So I truly believe it's very, very good.
That's awesome. Yeah, because everybody that finds himself or herself in a place doesn't necessarily have to, focus on what you are told to do, but what you have extra to provide, Yes. So once that extra part comes, it makes you someone unique. It makes you stand out from the rest, and then, everybody that will come under your umbrella will realize that, you are not there only to teach, but then you are there as a way of guidance to them as well. So
yeah, and I will say also that being a volunteer is an extra qualification, and it's like it comes, it is very, very complementary of your profile, because when you graduate with thousands of other people that have your same profile. They study your same bachelor, your same masters, or whatever. But it's what makes you different, and not many people do that.
Exactly.
Not many people volunteer.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Okay. So we're gonna move on to the second part of the conversation that has to do with international exchange. I know you are like a pivotal person when it comes to exchange programs. I know you have experiences with ISEC, which is one of biggest volunteer programs around the world, of which I can boldly say I've been a beneficial of such a huge company called ISEC. It was through ISEC I came to Colombia, and many of my colleagues as well who find themselves in Colombia came through such an organization. So, and I know you have a lot of experiences when it comes to international exchanges. So moving on to such a topic, the first question I would like to put across is are you good at hosting people when it comes to international exchange?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I was asking if you are a good candidate for hosting people.
Am I a good candidate? Oh, I don't know, actually. And it's a little sad coming from me, because I was a guest 2 times before. But I would say I would try my best to give the best experience to the person that I will be hosting. If I am a good candidate, I will say I can have all the requisites to be one, but it's something that I haven't thought really. Your question just it makes me think right now, because I'm not sure. It's making me think. But I would say yes. I will definitely try my best and give all of myself. Because of what I said before, I was in that position 2 times before. I was a guest in 2 different cities with 2 different families, and they gave me 2 of the greatest experiences of my life. Like, those days I will never forget, for sure. So I will try to do that too. But it's something that that never crossed my mind before this question that you just made.
So
I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, exactly. So let me shift your mind a little bit to what happens at ISEC. Can you brief us as to what goes on when you hear the name ISEC?
When I hear the name ISEC, the first thing that comes to my mind is young leadership. Young people who works locally and internationally to develop other leaders who work together for cause. And of course, I think of exchanges of people going to other countries, and of course going out of the comfort zone to work together with other people to achieve goals and to do many positive things. That's what comes to my mind.
Great. All right. So, having gone through with us exactly what happens when you hear the name of ISEC. Initially you were telling me you had a family that helped you a lot with your exchange program. Yeah. So what were some of the benefits that the host family got in relation to you being there as a volunteer?
This is like the like traveling without leaving your house, almost. I could say that for the family to be able to have a person from another country with a different culture, with different costumes and a different life. So having that in your house is very, very important. Also, to take you as an example, if sometimes someone costs you, in the house, they will also get a chance to learn a new language, right? Because you come from a Spanish country, so you speak Spanish, country, Spanish speaking country, so that's another benefit. And those two things, I believe, are most critical benefits of these hosting programs to people. Why? Because sometimes you can see the cultures of other countries so far away from you, and they even have enough resources to go to those countries. But if some people from those countries come to your house, and live with you during 6 or 8 weeks, and share with you the way they just give the opportunity to understand the way they live life. The perspectives are very different. My once I went to Mexico, and one can say that Mexico is a Latin country. They also speak Spanish. It's very close to Colombia. Yes, I found things very, very new to me, and it was the same for them. When they were my host families, the people from those families really thought, "Oh my God, what is this?" Just when I told them about arepas, it was like, "What is this?" It's very similar. They are like tortillas, but they are bigger and blah 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 blah. So now imagine if you host someone from Africa or from Europe or from Asia. So that's something that I believe, like traveling without leaving your house.
Okay. So, talking about host family and everything, in the situation where, you feel at home once you get there, yes. In the situation where you get there and you're feeling at home and you want to have more time with them, the question is, how long do we or does somebody have to host an exchange student?
Actually, it depends on the volunteering program or the exchange program that the person is taking. Normally, the global volunteer lasts normally 6 to 8 weeks, which is like the most common, because you also have a talent exchange program that goes from 6 months to a year. I believe that's the one you took. In that particular one, there is no need for a host family, But in the volunteering, in the global volunteer one, it is around between 6 to 8 weeks. And if the person wants to take more time doing the program or extending the program, it's also possible to change or to switch families. So it's not like mandatory that you have to stay with the same family. So normally it will take 6 weeks. That's the amount of time that you will be hosting the volunteer, the trainee, which is the name that ASEC uses for the volunteer.
Okay. All right. So moving on, as a host, what are some of the major requirements you have to meet in order to host somebody?
It has to be like you need to have a house with internet and all these simple things that normally all the houses possess, and a personal space for the volunteer, you know, that he or she doesn't have to share a bed, for example, that it has her own space, and it depends on what the organization Isaac negotiates with the family, but normally 1 meal a day, that the family can provide 1 meal a day. And some of the families provide 2, some of the families provide the regular, 3. And in my case, my family's provided more than 3. So it's like very, very simple ways, very, very simple things actually that you need to have in order to be a host.
Okay, awesome. Somebody might ask, okay, I'm from an English-speaking country. I've got this opportunity to travel to, let's say, Germany, where they speak German. I've got this opportunity to travel to Italy, where they speak Italian. I speak Spanish. I've got the opportunity to travel to the United States, where they speak only English. So the big question is it necessary to speak the native language of the country where you're going to visit in order to be a volunteer?
It depends. It depends on the nature of the project that you're supporting, because if the nature of the project is let me say, I don't know, more administrative, in which you have to do paperwork or support paperwork, or you have to communicate for very important, relevant things with other people, yes, definitely, it's very important. So normally the local committees, the ones that run the projects, will let you know in the requisites that you need to fill or fulfill in order to be part or to participate in those projects. But something that I've noticed before is that when it is required to have a certain level, and you meet that level, the local committee will also provide some lessons, free lessons for you to keep up with daily things, with daily activities, so that you will know the most important things, and in terms of language, to be able to engage in efficient conversations, and to be able to manage different situations. But yes, the answer is yes. This is also, I believe, an opportunity for people that already have a level in any language, and that is looking for an opportunity not just to help, but to practice it. Because, for instance, here in Colombia, we speak English, right? But the real opportunities to engage in authentic conversations, non-existent, right? Almost, you can say that. So those projects and being a volunteer in another country or in other countries that do not speak your mother tongue are also a good opportunity for you to grow in that matter,
Great. All right. Lastly, once I'm a foreigner and I get to a foreign land, I would have to learn, or I would have to know how I can get around. In your case, as a volunteer, in Mexico, when you got there, how did you get around?
The first day of my first volunteer program was really good, because my adoptive mom took me there. Yeah. But the second day, I told her, no, we cannot do this all the time, because you have to work, and it will take time away from the other things that you can do if you don't focus on taking me every day to the place I was doing the project. So the second day I said, okay, I'm going to take the risk, and I got lost. So, and I was in a country in which people speak the same language as me, so that's normal. That's very, very normal. But also, I'm a very shy person. So for me, it's very difficult to talk to strangers and to ask for, instructions, and to ask for addresses, and to do all of that. But I had to. Yes, I took the wrong bus. I got actually to the other side, to the other extreme of the city, and I got to a point in which I was very scared because I didn't see anything but trees and plants. There was almost no houses. So I say, okay, I have to do something, and I say, okay, I need to forget almost that I'm a nervous person. I'm going to ask people for instructions and after that, I think I am, because of that, a more open person when it comes to ask for things to strangers, because I'm like, oh no, I don't want to bother people asking for this or that information. And also, I believe at that point, I didn't have internet data, so I couldn't check Google Maps. But then I thought, it doesn't matter, because I'm also very, very dumb when it comes to reading maps. So it doesn't matter. I have to ask people, I have to ask to locals, how can I get to this point, and do it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Meaning. All right. But then, everybody that, is listening to you right now will go like, okay, he's an English teacher, and I think he should give us some tips when it comes to learning the English language. I know you're from Colombia, but you speak good English. But then how did you make it by speaking English and also, turning out to be an English teacher as well? So it shows that you have a lot of experiences, or you have a lot of tips to tell people when it comes to learning the English language. So Mr. Jefferson, what can you give out to the people out there in order to benefit from whatever you benefited from as well?
Something that I will say is, first, you need, and this is, I will put it in those terms, you need to not be afraid of English, because that's something that it's like people have in their minds that English is a really difficult and complicated language, that it's almost impossible to learn. And when you have that fear or that constant thought in your mind telling you that it's very difficult, it will take a toll on you. So don't do that. See yourself as a capable person to learn something that of course is different, but, and it comes my second tip, that is also not so different. There are many things that that Spanish and English share, and that you can use them as advantages in order to achieve fluency and achieve language use and achieve many of the goals that you set for yourself. I say this also because it really helped me, because my journey with learning English began listening to music, really, because I love music. That's something that is an important and essential part of my daily life. Music is my company all the time. So because I like that, I took advantage of that I'm always listening to music. So I try to, 90% of the time, to listen music in English, because it will help me to get used to the words, pronunciation, cadence, accents, all of that. And also watching movies, you can begin with closed caption, in the beginning, so you feel more. And as you feel more confidence, you can stop getting rid of those. Also, what I think it's important is to always be very open to live experiences related to the English language. To not be afraid of maybe, I don't know, if you have the chance to help someone in the supermarket and you notice that that person speaks English and you can help them, do it. And something that I always tell to my students is, don't be ashamed. Don't feel ashamed if you make a mistake. Like, I can say that I have been making mistakes throughout the conversation all the time. Some of them I just let them pass, and some of them I say, oh, sorry, and I just start again the sentence. And I'm an English teacher, and I'm supposed to be super fluent, and I'm supposed to be to make no mistakes, but that is never going to happen. Even in Spanish, I make my mistakes, and I'm sure even you, in your native language, you make mistakes, because when we speak, we're thinking at the same time and we're processing information, so it's not going to come out perfectly. So that's one of the most important ones. Don't be nor feel ashamed of making mistakes. No. Because people really hold back because of fear to make mistakes, and that is not good. And if you have the opportunity to embark yourself in a trip and to travel outside Colombia, choose countries in which they speak English, because it will take you out of your comfort zone, and it will pull you, this possibility will put you in situations that will allow you to produce the language, that will allow you to develop your different skills, in all of them. So I think those are my tips.
Okay, awesome, great. Lastly, we all have something that we stand for. In English, there is an adage that says, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. Yeah. So the question is, what is your personal mantra in life?
I will say that to live a fully life, you need to be every version of yourself. Sometimes you're going to be good, sometimes you're going to be bad, sometimes you're going to be in the middle, sometimes you're going to be a hero, sometimes you're going to be the villain. So I truly believe that if you want to live a fully and fulfilling life, we need to live all those roles, to experience all those roles. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, don't be afraid to fail, don't focus yourself on always being the good one. Just be all the versions and all the I would say I am all the Jeffs inside of me, and I will show them. Yeah.
Great. All right, Mr. Thanks for being part of this project and spending time with us, sharing your perspective about volunteerism and international exchanges. We've really learned a lot about what to do and what not to do when it comes to those two topics, and I hope and I know it's going to be helpful to anybody who chances upon this video. Thank you, and thank you once again.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for your time and for letting me speak to your audience, of course. And now I have nothing more to say. Thank you.